What's going on, everybody? Josh Callaway alongside James D. Jackson, Sooners Illustrated and 24/7 Sports at the stadium in Norman, where Oklahoma got back on track in a big way. The Sooners absolutely demolished West Virginia on Saturday night, 59-20, snapped their little two-game losing skid. James, Oklahoma really needed this. The Sooners have had a rough go of it the last couple of weeks. You know, they were sitting 7-0. We're thinking big. College football playoff, certainly Big 12, obviously. Gabriel's in the Heisman mix. That all kind of went away in the blink of an eye. Tonight, they got back to what we saw early in the year. They rolled over a pretty good West Virginia team today. This game, after West Virginia scored real quick to go up 7-0, after that was never close. A really, really impressive bounce-back performance by the Sooners today.
And I don't think this is a performance we've even seen earlier in the year. This is one of those games that was like everything was cooking. I mean, we can't even complain about the run game because Gavin Sawchuk over 100 yards again, two weeks in a row for him to go over 100 yards. You had Drake Stoops, who was just unstoppable out there tonight. You know, you don't think a guy like that is going to be the one to really set the offense going and get them going, but he set it on fire tonight. He set it on fire. He was the guy, 3 touchdowns for him, 169 yards, 65 yards. I can't remember what the stat was, but
something like that.
Really good numbers from him. Yeah. I mean, and even Austin Stogner got in the party, man. 4 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. So, I mean, it was a really good night overall. Dylan Gabriel, 8 touchdowns overall. The Oklahoma record. Think about all the great quarterbacks that have come through Oklahoma not do that. I mean, just amazing overall night, especially offensively. In the defense, you get another goal line stand. You get a turnover on downs. You get 2 interceptions. It's a complete game, Josh. I mean, this is probably one of the best performances they've had all year.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's where I was going to say is Brent Venables, he said that. He said this very well might have been our best 4 full quarters of football that we've played, offense and defense. A lot to like about this game. Obviously, we got to start with the offense. You know, there's been a lot talked last couple of weeks about Jeff Lebby and this OU offense just not being particularly great. Not bad, but not great, and not what Oklahoma fans are accustomed to. The last 2 games were winnable. Certainly last week in Stillwater was there to be had. The defense was making plays, giving them chances. They couldn't do it. Tonight they go hang 59 on the board. Could have been more. In the first half especially, West Virginia had 0 answers. They kept it going into the second half as well. Dylan Gabriel, like you said, an OU program record 8 touchdowns. A lot of really good players have played here. A lot of Heisman winners have played here, just even the past decade, and none of them ever got 8 touchdowns in a game. Dylan Gabriel said, hey, I walk by Heisman Park every day. I see all those statues. I'm trying to live up to that the Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, what Jalen Hurts did here. 8 touchdowns is unbelievable. Like you said, Gavin Sawchuk ran all over the place again. I think they've officially found running back 1. Drake Stoops, unbelievable. Like you said also, they actually got Austin Stogner involved in this game, caught a touchdown. Offensively, James, this was as good as OU offense has looked since Lincoln Riley left Norman, Oklahoma. Jeff Lebby has had a rough month. He was cooking tonight. It was all work, and you could see the weight off him in postgame. Offensively, there's nothing to complain about tonight. They were absolutely dynamite.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that everybody wants to hear about is they had complimentary football tonight. I mean, whenever their defense got a turnover, OU would go down and score. I mean, outside of Arkansas State, I mean, that just hasn't really happened this year. I mean, it's just a bunch of dogfights that OU's had to really, squeak by and get out of it. And Tulsa too was a very good win as well. I don't want to diminish that, but yeah, I mean, it's complimentary football is what they've been talking about the last couple of weeks, and they finally got it back. You know, that was what they were wanting. So, I mean, like you said, it's an impressive win coming out and doing it like they did. I mean, can't say enough about it. I mean, last week it was a lot of frustration, a lot of, just not understanding what had happened to the team. Danny Sussman comes back. Maybe that's the change that they needed, but it was an outstanding game all overall.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot on the podcast with Tom and in our post-game recaps last couple of weeks, the just constant brutal mistakes, turnovers, penalties at bad times. Didn't have any of that. You had the muff punt in this game, but other than that, offensively, no turnovers. Dylan Gabriel took care of the ball. He was fantastic. Like we said, they ran the ball. They didn't have a lot of real costly penalties in this game. They just played a mistake-free football, and then, wow, look what you can do whenever you just don't make mistakes. And that's what Jeff Lebby kind of said in his post-game was, it's not complicated. We try to make complicated. It's not complicated. We're good when we just don't make brutal mistakes, and that's what we saw tonight.
And if you think about that, it's probably you think, man, as close as those games were that OU lost, has OU actually been beaten by a team this year, actually been beaten, on the field just with the play calling and everything like that? It was just those little mistakes that hurt OU and kind of like they beat themselves kind of when you think about it, Then that opens up where the referees can kind of get their hand on the game as well. So, for OU to come out like they did, like we said, that was impressive, and it was exactly what they needed to really put the game away early.
Absolutely. Defensively, first drive was bad. West Virginia went right down the field and scored, and it kind of felt like, uh-oh, that didn't look very good. After that, dynamite. They were lock and step the rest of the way, got some big turnovers. Garrett Green was not able to hurt them with his legs. Got some, like I said, turnovers in this game. Danny Stutzman was back again. He comes back, leads the team in tackles. Shocker. Obviously, he makes a huge difference. Kip Lewis was in there a lot as well again today. They got another big goal line stand. They've gotten pretty good at that. Defensively, James, again, that first drive is not the way you want to start a game, but after that, I mean, West Virginia didn't get much going until right before halftime, and they tried to work their way back in it, but outside of a couple of drives here and there, were never able to really get anything, sustain anything. I mean, this OU defense is kind of more of the same that we've seen, giving them a chance to win, and the offense went out and put a big number. You're going to win every single time with the way the defense is playing right now.
Yep, exactly. I mean, the defense also got a 2-point conversion stop. I mean, so you got to put that in there too. And when teams get right there, it's pretty hard to score in Oklahoma.
It's not easy to score inside the 5 on this team. Clearly,
they've proven it. You know, you can lean on that. Now that was kind of interesting to start the game. Danny Stutzman and Kip Lewis at linebacker to start.
Yeah,
not Jaron Kanek, and just seeing how that played out, and it seemed like after that, OU kind of figured out West Virginia, figured out what they were trying to do, and it looked pretty good. I mean, outside of that one drive just before the half, where there was a couple penalties and here and there, and West Virginia was able to get in the end zone, overall the defense looked really good today. And I think, like we said, Danny Stutzman being back out there, it helps a lot. I mean, he's the leader of the team. I mean, it's the guy. That's the guy you want to lead the way. So I mean, it helped out a lot for him to be back out there and be healthy and be able to play and pretty much leave his mark on the game.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned, didn't have a lot of penalties that hurt him today. I'm not even going to count that Kenai Walker pass interference in the end zone. Mm-hmm. What are we doing? Did he even touch him? That was a very ticky-tacky PI. Contrast that with the Drake Stoops play in the corner last week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Let's be quiet.
I don't know. We had SEC chants going in here purely aimed at the officiating. It was a interesting game on that front. This game got really spicy for a while as well. In the fourth quarter, Drake Stoops catches a touchdown as he had a monster game, like we said. Gets absolutely flattened over the middle of the end zone. And West Virginia kind of stood over him. Dylan Gabriel didn't like it, came and broke it up. Started a whole brouhaha as the lights are flickering for the touchdown. This game was McKay Matoya got ejected in this game. Probably didn't really warrant that either. He didn't do much, in my opinion. This game got quite spicy there for a little bit. It simmered down, but for a minute or two there, it felt like we were on the cusp of a brawl out here, which kind of fun.
Until you tennis players out there, just wait for Dylan Gabriel's comment on it. I think he was talking about the physicality of the game is different.
I know what he meant, but it came out like he hates tennis players. And as somebody who plays tennis, I was a little offended.
He said he wasn't as competitive or something like that.
Yeah,
that's not what he was. That's not what he meant. He meant physicality.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you want to change the channel from not what football is, you can change the channel to tennis. Well, that's not what he meant. But that's pretty funny.
It was funny.
Yeah,
we joked around with him afterward.
But when that happened with Drake Stewart, I actually thought he got knocked out for a minute because the way he was laying on the ground.
Yeah, very lucky that it seems like he's okay. Because I thought the same. Like, man, if he has a concussion and he has to miss, look how well he's playing right now. But he did post game. He said he's fine. So seems like a bullet dodge.
He just got the wind knocked out of him. Is what he said. So he was just laying there trying to catch his breath because the hit came on like his chest and shoulder area, and so he was just trying to get his breath back. And he said he looked up and then the stadium went dark. He was like, "Is that me or is that the stadium?" Like I don't know. Which
That's
one
great.
I'm worried. And he looked up and then Dylan Gabriel was doing all that. He's like, "Okay, I'm fine."
It's the lights. It's the lights. That's great. So looking forward now, Oklahoma got some help today. Kansas lost to Texas Tech. Oklahoma State got just dismantled against UCF, which makes it all that much more maddening in some ways, the teams at Oklahoma. Now, there's extenuating circumstances. Kansas, Jason Bean went down in that game. But when you look at the way Oklahoma played today, you felt like the Oklahoma team that we saw today could hang with and beat almost anybody. Exactly. Today was the team we saw against Texas, and that's what makes it all that much more kind of frustrating in some ways if you're an OU fan, because if this team played the last couple of weeks, they probably win those games. But nothing you do about it now. Yep. Like I said, they got some help, some losses. The Big 12 picture is coming into focus. The Sooners are certainly right in the thick of things with a couple weeks to go. How are you kind of feeling moving forward? It feels like if Oklahoma can, their last two games, BYU and TCU, they got players, but they're certainly not a murderer's row last couple of games by any means. How are you kind of feeling moving forward? The Sooners are still right in the thick of this conference race. They might be able to get, finish this thing strong, and who knows where you go from there.
Mm-hmm. As we said, I mean, a 10-win season is an incredible leap from what they were last year. I mean, either way, that's a good thing. When I talk to Marcus James, one of the recruits that just committed to OU over like a couple of weeks ago, he was like, I've seen what Brent Venables has done in just 2 years. So I think once we all get there, we should win a national championship. And I think that's kind of the sentiment. You just keep building. And that's what it looks like right now. So they win the next 2 games, regardless if they make the Big 12 championship game. They win those 2 and get to 10-2 on the season. That's a really, really good milestone to hit in this second year under Brent Venables. But as you said, it's wide open. I mean, it seems like it could fall their way. The chips could fall their way. They got 2 big chips already falling their way just this week, and then 3 when you count OU's win. So this will be interesting. It'll be interesting down the stretch, and we'll see what happens.
It's the Big 12. We fall into the same trap every year, and especially this year, it seems like every week of, well, it looks like it's going to be this, and then just get another week, and it all goes to shreds, and then you reevaluate. So we'll see where things stand. A lot of people are trying to figure out tiebreaker scenarios and things like that. We're trying to figure it out too. But the important thing is that Oklahoma's in this, and if they win these next 2 weeks, they're going to have a very good shot to be sitting in Arlington at that first weekend of December against whoever with a chance to win a conference title. So that's it for now. Oklahoma, a very impressive showing. They dominate West Virginia, get to 8-2, and stay alive in the Big 12 title race. Next up, a road trip to Provo, Utah next weekend, and a battle with the BYU Cougars. That'll be an interesting one, kind of like Cincinnati earlier this year. New ground, a new Big 12 opponent. Next week it'll be the Cougars of BYU as the Sooners try to continue to build this thing and get up to that potentially Big 12 championship game. On the site, Oklahoma247sports.com, there is loads of coverage there for you from James, Tom Green, also Colin Kennedy, who's been contributing throughout the day as well. YouTube channel, where you're probably watching this right now, or listening to the podcast version. Mosey on over to the YouTube channel. Full post-game reaction from Brent Venables, Dylan Gabriel, both coordinators, and a slew of other players as well. That'll all be there for you on the YouTube channel.
Let's give them props before we get off of here. Reggie Pearson Jr. getting his interception off of Billy Bowman's tip.
Yes.
Jacoby Johnson.
Nice.
Oklahoma native getting in the game and getting interception. I mean, just guys all around making big plays. I think Jaron Cannon got a sack. He had a sack, and that hasn't been the case for OU in a while, just having a sack in a game. So give them their props and what they did on the defensive end, and we want to really shout those guys out when they do a good job because we're very critical when they're not good. So let's try to be on both sides here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just one of those games where you really don't have a lot to complain about if you're Oklahoma. Kind of a little of good everywhere you look. Very good showing for Oklahoma. Oklahoma 24/7 Sports, the place to be on Oklahoma game day. Lots of coverage there coming out of this one. Be with us Monday for the Sooners Illustrated podcast. The two of us and Tom Green loop in here to give a full reaction to this one as we get the chance to watch it back and absorb it over the next couple of days. And then we'll get you all ready, of course, for the next one, the Sooners and BYU next weekend in Utah. For James D. Jackson, I'm Josh Callaway. We'll see you Monday for the Sooners Illustrated podcast.